following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
The Columbus Blue Jackets just won that trade, and that's totally fine. Conor Garland is a Blue Jacket, and it's still go Canucks go.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about Conor Garland being traded here on Locked On Canucks. My name's Kyle Bowen. One love to the Don't Doze Art Lab for giving you the place for the West Coast bias constantly. You got to do it, okay? You got to look after your neighbors. If you're not doing it, who's doing it? Right? Speaking of our neighbors, Conor Garland, no longer one of those guys. He gets traded to the Columbus Blue Jackets for a second in a couple of years and a third-round pick as well. And if you want me to talk about the haul, you're going to have to wait like 5 or 6 minutes, okay? Because first, you got to talk about Conor Garland. And I know, you and me have been talking a lot of ish about Conor Garland lately, okay? Another 20-game spell where he doesn't produce any offense on the box score, okay? I don't care what the fantasy stats say. I don't care about the play driving metrics, okay? The box score is empty. In fact, the big reason why the Vancouver Canucks aren't getting a first-round pick in this trade is not because of the 6-year deal coming up. It's not just because of that. It's because Conor Garland is cold. One of the coldest players in hockey. That's what it felt like over this 20-plus game stretch. Where am I going with this? Outside of that stretch, okay? Conor Garland, what a player. One of my favorite Canucks in recent history. If his career's longer in Vancouver, if the Canucks have more success, he's probably a lot of people's favorite Canuck. You know what I'm saying? And how could you not, appreciate that hockey player? He's got the intangibles. He doesn't have the size, but who cares? His heart is big. Huge, ginormous. Bigger than yours, bigger than your favorite hockey players. Okay, that guy plays with balls. When he's on his game, he skates well. He makes plays. He makes people around him better. He digs out pucks better than a lot of players in the league, better than 99.9% of the league. Like, he just does his thing. He does it in his own athletic way. He can maneuver his body in ways a lot of players can't because, he's short. But again, so athletic, can do magical things to do whatever he wants when, again, he's on his game. And a lot of that, again, is energized through his effort, okay? He's undeniable at a lot of points in his game. And I know maybe there's some other NHL fans or some Blue Jacket fans who are coming here and you're like, yo, you're not talking about Gretzky here. You're not talking about McDavid here. This guy gets 40 to 50 points every year. There's no way he's all of those things. Trust me, he is, right? And, maybe because he's a little smaller than other players, doesn't have the heaviest of shots, right? Doesn't constantly, especially in Vancouver, right? Play with, like, the best guys. Like, do the math. That's why he gets to only 50 points. I feel like if this guy gets a top 6 role around a lot of good players, 60 points is in his horizon, especially for the next couple of years before he turns 33 and a half years old. All in all, though, Columbus just, again, gets an amazing player who will be re-energized. Like, Columbus is in a playoff race. Conor Garland loves the game of hockey. And I know he just signed a 6-year deal that hasn't kicked in yet with Vancouver a few months ago, but he needed a fresh start, okay? He did. A lot of these Canucks do. Anywho, Columbus, congratulations. You kind of won this trade, and that's okay because the Canucks are losers. And some of these trades are going to hurt But what's more important than winning all these trades that we're going to make, because we're going to win some. We are. We're going to win some eventually. But again, what pains a lot of Canucks fans is, the losses and the losses and more of the losses and losing, on that note, some of your favorite players. But what Canucks fans need to hold on to is a change of philosophy. And we've seen that in recent history. And this is what a lot of people have been demanding. Hey, this is what this franchise needs. Again, a franchise that never wins. And on top of that, hasn't won. And finally, we are seeing them focus on doing whatever it takes to make sure the future has a better chance. And again, they traded Myers. Tyler Myers. Out of nowhere. Still with the term on his deal. Fan favorite. No movement clause. Fully in effect. And they throw him under the bus and put him on a plane and get him out of here. Okay? For real. Probably rubbed him the wrong way. Probably rubbed the dressing room the wrong way. Okay? But they thought team first. And not like this version of the Canucks, but the future version of the Canucks. That's new. And if you're a Canucks fan, you've been wanting that. New. And look at Conor Garland. You think this management group who constantly calls out their best players or, their most expensive player on work ethic wanted to trade Kiefer Sherwood, wanted to trade Conor Garland, knowing that those two are probably the hardest working guys on the team? No. So that's dangerous, right? Because you get rid of those guys and keep the other guys. What else is going to happen? Nothing new, right? You want those culture setters. You want those guys who work hard, battle hard, do the most. Right? Conor Garland, one of those guys, he can, not only drive the play of his line mates, but he can constantly have his teammates on the bench fired up and riled up. Because again, you're seeing one of your guys become a warrior, do whatever it takes to help the team out. Again, that helps team morale. Kiefer Sherwood hitting everything in sight. That helps team morale. And a lot of players on the team right now don't do that, especially with the losses of, again, Conor Garland and Kiefer Sherwood. You think Alvin and Rutherford were rushing to the table to get rid of those guys? No, they thought long and hard. Long and hard. Guaranteed. But they knew they had to do it. Why? Because this team is in a rebuild, and they can't trade Brock Besser. And they can't trade Elias Pettersson. And they can't trade Jake DeBrusk. And they don't want to trade Philip Roenick. And if you're rebuilding, you need picks. And if you're the Vancouver Canucks, you need picks because you've never prioritized that. For the third time today on the network, on the channel, we've stated the historic fact, this is the first time in franchise history where the Vancouver Canucks will have 4 picks in the top 60 of an NHL draft. This team has been in the show for over half a century, has been past the third round 3 times, has been past the second round 3 times. Their history sucks because they've been historically a bad team, but they never prioritized the draft, and they're doing it now. And they needed to shift philosophy. I'm part of my language. I'm slurring my words. I feel like I'm drunk on the future. But it's refreshing to see Vancouver just do that. And that's focus everything on the future. Okay? Even if you're going to lose a trade. Because culture has to change. We talk about it changing in the dressing room. You need the right guys. And you probably lost, guys you want helping Bouillon and Willander. But hey, it is what it is. Because it always starts at the top. And until the philosophy, changes there, we won't see really any consistent change. Draft picks, man. You need them. And the Canucks, look at their drafts from like 2018 onwards. Maybe you can even push it back to 2017, knowing where Elias Pettersson is going, or even back to what was 2017, the Hughes year, the Pettersson year. Anyways, going back to the Brock Besser year, this team never makes the playoffs. Has made the real playoffs once since 2016. And you just look at their drafts in the last 10 years, and there's so many draft pools that they acquired where there's no one of value on the team now. Like they're going at best 1 for 6, 1 for 7, 1 for 5. A lot of times they're going 0 for 7, 0 for 6. This is a team that hasn't made the playoffs consistently in 10 years. Like they've been bad. And since now it's proven historically, whatever they've been doing in the past, like again, doesn't lead to good draft pools, you best believe the best chance to like win that ratio is get more draft picks, okay? Excuse me. Get more lottery tickets. And that's kind of happening now. Again, the Canucks have acquired, 6 draft picks in exchange for Kiefer Sherwood, Tyler Myers, Conor Garland. Like, that's new. That's fresh. For real. Anyways, let's read some comments and get out of here. Again, Conor Garland to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Congratulations for both teams. A big trade. A shout out to Columbus. I heard Mason Marchment might have went down with an injury or something earlier this week. I think it was today. And they pulled the trigger, reward their team, and get a good hockey player, okay? I think Conor Garland is going to do great things in Columbus. And, I'll tell you a Conor Garland story in like 2 or 3 minutes. But first, let's read the comment. TNA Wrestling saying, Mickey Mouse sounding ass. Speaking of Mickey Mouse, I wrote a children's book. Okay, we got some samples today. You got to go back and forth here, but it's called How to Fly. It's about a star that wants to become a shooting star. We'll tease a page right there. One of my favorite spreads of the book. Hit the link in the bio. Join the waiting list, okay? Next comment. Okay, we got Angelo saying, nice jersey. This jersey was gifted courtesy of Mother Nucker, right? Mother Nucker wants to give this jersey out to a Discord member who wins in the fantasy hockey league we have going on. So shout out to Mother Nucker, okay? One love to the community. Next comment. James Moore, yo, Trevor Becks told me that you don't like the return. Terrible return. Hate this trade. James Moore, don't Google him. And James Moore, I felt sorry for you when you Googled the Conor Garland trade because, again, you're mad. You're sad, and I get it, too, because, like, what is the second-round pick from 2047? I'm joking, but isn't it like 2028 or 29, if I'm correct? Give me a second here, okay? I know y'all want me to get my facts right. Even though this ain't the media, this is Locked On Canucks. Conor Garland trade. I know we didn't get a second-round pick from this year's draft. Boom, bam. Where are the details here, okay? The second-round pick is in 2028, and the third-round pick is in this year's draft, which is cool. I thought the second-round pick was in 2029. I was a little ticked off about that, but it is what it is. Again, James Moore not liking the trade, and again, I get it too, because Conor Garland at his best is worth way more than this. Way more than this. Next comment. Did I hear something about Kent Johnson? Well, why didn't the Canucks target Kent Johnson? I for a second there, I thought the same thing, but Trevor was like, Kyle, don't even bring that name up. You're an idiot. Kent Johnson had as many points last year as Conor Garland has had at any point in his career. I think so. So shut up. He's having a bad season. Shut up. You're not getting Kent Johnson in a Conor Garland trade. That being said, is there any way after you trade Elias Pettersson that you target a guy like Kent Johnson, right? A little swap, not one for one, but it's like, okay, the Elias Pettersson project didn't work out. That high end skill, again, that potential when it comes to like putting the offense on the table as well. Could you take a flyer on a quote unquote struggling Kent Johnson, who happens to be from BC? Of course, you got to do it. Even though I don't want to be that guy, taking on these reclamation projects, but A, he's a BC bud. You got to believe in him. And B, you look at the Trevor Zegras trade from last year, and I wonder if like that's all it would take. If like a guy like Kent Johnson, and I don't wish this upon him because again, he's a BC bud, but let's say he struggles next year again. right? Like, could you pull off the Trevor Zegers trade for Kent Johnson? Anyways, last Conor Garland note before we get out of here. Okay, Conor Garland, the first time I watched him play, he scored a hat trick, I believe, against the Edmonton Oilers when he was a part of the Arizona Coyotes. And I swear to you, unless I was concussed, this might have been around the time where I found out, she left me for a girl, right? Like, I must have been down and out, and I had blurry vision back in the day. But I'm pretty sure he scored that hat trick goal with his face, okay? And again, prior to the hat trick goal, this guy, you could tell just by me watching that game that this guy just had that dog in him, and he was just a different player to watch. Like, he was fun, aggressive, tenacious, right? Like, so many things. Fun to watch. And Columbus, you got a fun player. So again, congratulations, best of luck. Shout out to Rick Bowness. Go make the playoffs. Good luck to Conor Garland. Thanks for your service, because again, until like this year, like, you kind of like never took days off, and we truly do appreciate that. You also gave us one of the best playoff memories in franchise history, because again, this franchise history books is just, again, weak. But again, thanks for the memory. You know what I'm talking about. Anywho, hit the like button, support the show, hit the links in the bio, join the Discord. Again, the book, How to Fly, coming out. I don't know. We got to get more samples, but hopefully in like a few weeks, many weeks, we're making strides, man. How to Fly out soon. Link in the bio. Anywho, peace.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.